Entitled Mother Lets Her Kids Steal My Blind Cane, by u/Hecate Nocturne. So a bit of a backstory, I am a 28-year-old woman who just recently went fully blind. When I was a teenager, I volunteered with my local youth group to help rebuild Mississippi after Hurricane Katrina, and while done there, I picked up a fungal parasite called histoplasmosis that over a decade migrated to my eyes and slowly caused blindness. I've been totally blind for about a year now, so I'm pretty new to it, but I digress. When I first went blind, I barely left the house and was afraid to go in public. I felt like everyone was staring at me, and in all honesty I barely knew what I was doing. The transition had been difficult and I didn't have any support group to teach me. One day my husband asks if I can take an Uber down to Bank and deposit a rent check, and I reluctantly agree. While out, he messages again and reminds me that we are low on a few crucial groceries. There was a Walmart grocery literally across the street from the bank. So I thought everything in life is an experience and I'll have to learn to shop alone eventually, so why not? Everything was fine at first and I was only grabbing a few things, so I didn't need a cart. I was using my cane and what little echolocation skills I had at the time to get around, but was still bumping into things as we blind tend to do sometimes. My cane suddenly hit something a bit softer and I figure maybe I hit someone's leg and I apologize. Cue entitled kid, EK, and entitled mother, EM. Me, shoot, I'm sorry. EM, hey. You hit my son. Me, I'm so sorry, ma'am, I didn't see him there. EM begins yelling, how could you not see him, he's clearly right there. Now I'm fully blind, but I don't wear sunglasses. Mostly because I can't afford a good UV blocking pair, but also I'm not ever looking for pity or to quote-unquote, play the part of a generic blind person. But I do understand her confusion as blindness is a spectrum, so I try to calmly explain. Me, ma'am, I'm blind, I can't see anything, let alone your son. That's why I have to use my cane, so I can get around without. She cuts me off. If you're blind, why aren't you wearing big sunglasses? Now, as a blind person, I get a lot of stupid questions, but I understand a lot of them are just people who don't know better, so I happily try to answer as many as I can. Me, those are really expensive, around $200 for a good pair, and I really don't need any inside. EM, you're not blind, you're faking it. Here is where my blood starts to boil. I can't think of any reason someone would want to pretend to be blind. It's an actual hell, and nothing pisses me off more than when someone calls me a liar when I'm not. Just as I'm about to respond, I feel a tug, and before I blink, I realize this little demon spawn has snatched my $100 cane from my hands. For those of you who don't understand, that's like if you're shopping and the power goes out and you can't see a single light. Without my cane, I can barely move without crashing into anything. My voice gets shaky and I begin to panic. Please give that back. I really do need it. EM, no you don't, liar. My son deserves to play with this more than you. I hear her shuffle away and my expensive cane crashing into metal displays and such as they leave. I start crying and waving my arms in front of me to grab onto something, anything, and ended up crashing and falling into a center aisle display, making a loud scene. Without a fail, I somewhat crawl into a ball and cry. I'm alone in public, in the dark, and I had not idea what to do. Suddenly I feel a hand on my shoulder and a man's voice, we'll call him AG for awesome guy. He asks if I'm okay and to stay right there. I do, but begin to at least sit up and listen. This man must have been tall and built like a tank because his footsteps sounded like a giant and I felt the suction of the wind when he took off. Maybe about 30 to 40 feet away I hear this loud bellowing like an angry lion and a loud crash. Then before I know it, the man is back, helping me get back on my feet. He takes my hand and puts my cane into my palm and helps me pick up the items I dropped when I fell into the display. Me wiping the tears off my cheeks, thank you so much, I didn't know how to handle that. AG, don't worry about it, some people are just monsters. This guy restored my faith in humanity and even helped me finish shopping and helped me out of the store. As we're leaving, I can hear the familiar screeching of EM, something about AG grabbing the cane and pulling hard, flinging her little devil child into a shopping cart. I don't know if she was exaggerating or not, but it would explain the crash I heard. It's easy to feel alone in the world without sight, but even through the sheer terror of being stripped of my cane, at least I know now that there are people out there willing to stand up for me when I need it the most. P.S. because of the sheer overwhelming amount of people asking, if you're blind then how are you typing, I'll first answer, with my fingers. And secondly, I'm using a screen reader called Narrator that reads the screen. Whenever my cursor of finger is over the screen it reads. When I type a letter, it reads. If you don't understand, then please Google it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video and want to see more like these, consider liking, sharing and subscribing. Thanks.